Hola, Thomas Miller with you on May 14th, Thursday. Hi, we've got another big day today. I know we left off yesterday that we were going to talk about the money angle of Venus and the Venus retrograde, and now, of course, we have Jupiter in retrograde as well. So we're going to do a double hit, and we're going to keep it short, all right? Promise, because I've gone long this week. Okay, so let's clean up from yesterday. Venus, which is in Gemini, turned retrograde early yesterday morning, and we've been talking about its aspects. So yesterday's podcast and Tuesday's podcast, we've talked about this. So the last one that we're going to talk about is the semi-square, and that's a 45-degree angle, to Uranus in Taurus. So we can kind of double theme this. We can talk about it from the perspective of love, or we can talk about it from the perspective of money. So one of the things that's, I think, favorable here, or to our advantage, is that Venus rules Taurus. So I'm going to paint a picture from my new audiobook author, Stephen Forrest. Oh my goodness, I have enjoyed narrating those books. And one of the things that he themes through the Book of Air, the Book of Fire, the Book of Earth that have been done so far. Book of Earth is hung up with Audible. You guys have been asking about that. It's hung up with Audible, and we're trying to get it shaken out. It sometimes can be an arduous, slow process. Hang in there with us. It's on the way. But one of the things that Steve Forrest themes throughout all of his work is houses, signs, planets, right? So when you have a planet in a sign, that planet is seasoned, if you will, by that sign. So Uranus, being in Taurus, is seasoned by everything Taurus. So from one standpoint, the planet of shakeup is actually grounded. So the interpretation of that is, with the shakeups that are happening now, and I firmly believe that the economic piece of what's going on right now is very much affected by Saturn's relationship to Uranus. But it's from a standpoint of the things that are going to be shaken up need to be shaken up. Now back to Steve Forrest's theme of Uranus being seasoned, if you will, by Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So even though we're starting this retrograde in a bit of a cranky minor aspect, the sesquisquare or the semi-square is a minor aspect, but at least it's something that needs to be understood that there could be something unusual come in, especially around those areas of money or relationship. Now, one of the funny things that can happen during this, and you may or may not be susceptible to this whatsoever, but for single folks, you know those reconnections that happen with high school friends and then they end up being late in life lovers? That can happen under this energy. So you might end up scrolling through a Facebook profile and you go, I really recognize the name, but I sure don't recognize the picture. That could be part of this as well, that Uranus brings back things from the past. Now, this might happen a little bit more pronounced for people who have fixed signs. So that could be Taurus, Leo, Scorpios, or you Aquarians. And remember, you Aquarians have Saturn transiting Aquarius in this trine. We talked about it on Tuesday, but it's this big trine between Saturn and Uranus. So that's bringing a whole nother dynamic to the table as well. Now, I think we could have the same kind of parlay correlation with money. So maybe some surprises around money. And that could be new money coming in, totally unexpected, especially in today's circumstances. So the reason I speak so broadly about this, about these daily energies, is this is energy in the sky. Now, might it affect certain signs more than others? Sure. And it will affect your chart depending on what you have going on in Taurus or in Gemini, where Venus is. And, of course, Mercury is now, too. So that could be another, there's another one I wanted to mention, too, is just conversations around relationship could be interesting. I would say, and I would still say, if you are having or need to have a relationship conversation, the more you can put it off, and I'm just saying astrological energy at play here, We're at the middle part of May. You could talk to the person who you need to converse with and just say, according to astrological energy, we would be a lot better to do this the first few days of June than we would be to do it now. However, if it's a conversation that needs to be had, then you could do it understanding what the energies are. And one of the energies, I'll wrap up Venus with this. One of the energies that Venus now has reminds me of the old song back in the 70s. You've lost that love and feeling. Be careful of that one, because with Venus in retrograde, it could be that you've lost that love and feeling for a little while. All right, now the other big bump news of the day is Jupiter turns retrograde at 10:33 a.m. This, ladies and gentlemen, is not fake news. If you have been tracking Jupiter in the night sky, which you can't see right now, at least in the northern hemisphere, you would know that it has been slowing down, and now, as of this morning, it will be turning around and going backwards. All right, so the short version of this, and we'll elaborate on it tomorrow. So basically, this whole week has been dedicated mostly to retrogrades. But you have three primary influences going on with everything that's going on today. Saturn and Pluto combined as the karmic blues brothers, triggered by Jupiter in Capricorn, which is its sign of detriment, meaning, according to ancient astrologers, that it is just not as Jupiter as it normally would be. In other words, it's not the planet of expansion and good luck in a happy way. And boy, have we ever seen that. Now, the other big thing that's at play here, especially around this retrograde, are three Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions. One already happened. That was April 4th. The next will be June 30th. And the last will be November 12th. It's worth noting that the last time that these two got together in Capricorn in a conjunction was in 1771. And if you go back and look in history, there was a plague in Russia during that time. And of course, that was what led up to basically the separation of the British colonists that formed the United States of America. So some interesting history around this. It does correlate with Saturn and Pluto. Pluto, of course, was in Capricorn last during that period. Saturn was not, but now we have them all together. So it is, oh boy, we are we are in for some times. And you know, like I've said, as dark as this gets, if we look back at astrological history, it always has been infinitely better on the other side. So we'll pause here and we will reset for tomorrow, where we will talk about how this might affect this whole dynamic that now we have Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, all in retrograde, along with Venus in retrograde. And we'll take a look at the rest of the retrograde schedule for the summer. That will all be on tomorrow's episode. Hope you have a great one. Bye-bye.